Guys, that's what they're trading.
Trade what?
All those videos.
We have to do something, and we have to do it now.
Who's that?
The boys were back in town. Ladies and gentlemen, I certainly hope you enjoyed watching that intro because I certainly enjoyed creating it. Now, I'm uploading this video on this channel once again, and in other words, in my Turkish channel, because YouTube is not being really cooperative with giving me a new password for my other channel, which is called The Wings of Libertas. If you liked my content and if you want to see more from me in English, mind you, go ahead and give that channel a subscribe. I'll put the link in the description below, and whenever I can get that channel back up and running, I will upload these review videos on that channel. Now, speaking of reviewing stuff, last week we had the second episode of Deadlock Fire, DPW Fire. English is difficult. And today we had the third episode. And to be honest, I really don't want to miss the second episode. It's just that last week I didn't have the time. I was a little busy. And the reason I don't want to miss the second episode or not talk about it is because some cool shit happened in that too. So, number one, actually, before I say anything, let's just see this.
The DPW Fire is brought to you by GT Games. GT Games is Traverse City, Michigan's premier destination for current and retro video games, Warhammer, Gundam model kits, Funko Pops, and much more. You can find GT Games online at Facebook.
As you can see, because DPW put in the effort, I don't know if it was because of me. I would like to think so. I would like to take full credit for that. Thank you. So because DPW put in the effort, I will put in the effort in this video as well. I'll actually do some decent editing on it. Right, let's talk about the second episode. Before we get into the episode, let's talk about the intro again. Last time I talked about the intro, I thought it was not the greatest, right? More so, I think it's a generic intro. And what makes it feel so generic is the song. It's like literally, I could type royalty-free rock music and I could find like 10,000 of those songs. There's got to be someone willing to do a unique song for DPW. So if you change that song to a better, more unique one, I think that will dramatically improve the intro. Just doing that. Then again, if the song changes, the intro needs to change as well because, you know, if the video doesn't fit the audio, yeah, whatever. It's just my feedback on this is I think you should find a way to change the song. Because like I said last time, as far as presentation goes, the graphics, everything is picture perfect. I really love them. It's just the intro that I have a small bit of gripe with, I guess. Now, as we get into the episode, we see a women's match for the first time. We saw Rosemary, a female wrestler, but no two women really mixed it up in the ring in DPW until the second episode. And the match was between KZT and, if I remember correctly, Angelica Risk. Now, I'll get to those wrestlers, specifically my impressions on those wrestlers, starting with KZT. Like they mentioned on commentary, she's pretty new to the business. I mean, 4 years, sure, but we had 2020 where basically if you're not a major wrestler wrestling in AEW, WWE, or New Japan, you had to wait for a whole year to wrestle. Even if you did wrestle in 2020, it wasn't that often. Like how would it be normally? So that makes KZT very new, actually, to pro wrestling, in my opinion. Because unless you're extremely talented, like a Kurt Angle or Brock Lesnar, or I guess a more recent example is Braun Breaker, pro wrestling takes some time to get better at, right? But I can easily say that KZT has a great foundation. I mean, she has bright pink hair, very colorful clothing, and yet she's able to carry herself so seriously. She has credibility, especially inside the ring. I buy what she's selling, and that's pretty cool. And I would love to see what she will become, what kind of a performer she will grow into in a couple of years. I cannot say the same thing for her opponent, though. Her opponent being Angelica Risk. The reason I say that is because she's already there, in my opinion. Again, this is the first time I'm seeing these two wrestlers, but Angelica Risk, for me, she had everything. She had the personality, she had the look, the skill inside the ring. I really, really liked Angelica Risk here. Definitely my favorite. Honestly, if I gotta be honest, favorite wrestler of the night. I really enjoyed this match, mostly because Angelica Risk. I don't know if this is the case, but she definitely seems like the more experienced one. Definitely seems like the one who led the match. Yeah, like I said, she was really good. Now, because I have 2 episodes to talk about today, I'm not gonna get into too much detail of what happened in the match, in the interest of your time. But the match was really good. Both of the wrestlers, they played to their strengths. And of course, there is one spot that I will never ever forget, which is a back attack, let's call it that, while KZT is on the corner sitting down. Looked absolutely brutal. Loved it, really, really like it. It seemed like it really hurt KZT a lot. It might have actually done that, but if it didn't, the way KZT sold it, the way Angelica did it, I gotta say, super, super impressive. So yeah, that was my impression of the match throughout the whole thing. Wow, this is cool. Yeah, I like it. One nitpick, and this would be completely ignored, by the way, if the circumstances were different, but at the end of the match, not at the beginning, not at the middle, no, at the very last second of the match, there's a tiny bit of a slip up with KZT not being able to catch Angelica's arm for the armbar. And obviously that takes the steam off of the moment a little. But other than that, like I said, I really liked it. In fact, this might be my favorite match of the episode. No, I should also talk about the fact that Angelica, she really interacted with the crowd so well through every step in the beginning, like during the entrances, during the outro, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know, but you get my gist. Right after that, we had an ad for DPW, you already know, their first ever pay-per-view. I don't know if I will review this one. I probably will, but if I do, there will be no pictures, there will be no videos like you're seeing right now, because you have to actually pay for this shit. I don't want to get taken out in my sleep. Let's just put it that way. I'm happy staying alive. The ad was for You, Only You, and Ryo Mizunami, which I definitely think I've seen before. It says on her glasses, I heart Aniki. I really feel like I've seen her somewhere before. But once again, besides that feeling, I don't know much about her really. And that's one thing I want to touch on. This, for me, makes DPW so great because I'm interested in the product in general. Normally, if I didn't know anybody, I wouldn't watch it. But, you know, because I know Pulse, Johnny, like Chris Danker, which we'll get to, of course, I'm watching for them, but they're also showing me these new people that I have no idea about and finding out about them, seeing how they wrestle, seeing their finisher, seeing how they look. That's also a very satisfying process as well. I gotta be honest with you. Especially because in the last couple of years, I've only been watching AEW and WWE. I used to watch a lot more New Japan, some Pro Wrestling Noah, some Stardom, some OTT, like any promotion you can think of. So I miss the feeling of getting to learn about someone now. And this show takes care of that, which I appreciate a lot. Right after this, right after the first women's match, we had the first tag team match in DPW. So a lot of firsts in the second episode of DPW. It was the Delinquents, which is Josh Fuller and Mike Banker, the manager from the last episode, which didn't do much. Like I predicted, of course, this is not like it doesn't take a genius to figure this out, of course, but compared to the first episode, we saw a lot more of this guy. And then we were waiting for their opponents to come out, but they didn't come out. Instead, we heard an old familiar tune, which is honestly so fucking cool. I'm so jealous. It's such a good theme song. Of course, I'm talking about the theme song of Chris Danger. He makes his entrance, people are shocked. As I'm watching it, I know full well, I mean, Chris was on the thumbnail, right? But still, I got chills. It's just, you know, I've been watching him for years upon years, and, you know, you can't help but feel like fuzzy inside, I guess. His entrance was absolutely perfect. Well, besides that one thing, I absolutely loved it. I mean, and I wasn't too surprised he handled everything so well because Chris Danger, as you know, has some, well, Chris Danker, to be more specific, has some time under the limelight, under the spotlight. He was in a band before, singing music, dancing at the same time. I think it was called the Oreo Boys. I might be mistaken. But yeah, they were a world famous band. Anyways, my English is breaking down when I try to make jokes. Whatever. Gets in the ring. It's very obvious from the start that he's not going to wrestle. He's also not here as a babyface. Extremely comfortable. I mean, does the Rock like smelling the air thing as well, which is one of the things that shows, you know, he has it. He has the presence, you know, he has control, command over himself. And this is just his first appearance. Who knows what he will do, you know, once he gets more used to everything happening. We can see some great moments with Chris Danger or Chris Danger. One more thing before I move on. I don't think he's going to wrestle. I definitely see him wrestling at least once in the future. I mean, he can do it, right? He's in America after all, you know, there are like tons of wrestling schools there, and he's in DPW. There are many people that can help him with wrestling. Like, I know that he trained with Joey Ryan thanks to Xavier Woods before. I think it was a birthday gift or something from Xavier. And in that video, he basically hated it. He couldn't handle the physicality. But I think like this crowd is, you know, isn't that big really. When in comparison to WWE, it's very small. But even in a setting like this, there is a certain pro wrestling bug. And when that bug bites you, you just cannot escape its venom. Like the feeling you get is unbeatable. There's nothing else like that in the world. And that's why I think Chris Danger will want to do more than be a manager, which is what he is right now. And I think he will at least wrestle once. So watch Chris's Instagram, watch him in his videos, and see if he is getting a little bit more muscular, getting a little bit more bigger. If he is, well, it's a pretty good sign right there that it will wrestle in the future. I'm just predicting that it will happen. Like, there's no way. There's no way. No person that loves professional wrestling escape that feeling. I do realize I'm talking about Chris Danger here a lot, but I mean, come on, he was the biggest thing. Perhaps that ever happened in DPW currently. Anyways, he cuts a promo. I really like the way he speaks. Again, very comfortable on the mic. One thing I would do is to shorten the promo though. He interacted with the crowd a bit too much, spent a little bit too much time, which dragged the promo on. Like maybe 1 minute less, 1 minute shorter, and this promo would have been great as well. It was still great, don't get me wrong. It's just, I thought, ran a little bit longer than it needed to be. Anyways, he says, I have a faction. It's named NDA, and here is the reality. They're gonna take over DPW with my help. Something along those lines. Thankfully, he didn't scream right after that. I can joke about that for a very long while. But let's move on to the match. This match, I don't know if it was the longest match I've ever seen in DPW. Perhaps the last main event could take that cake. But it definitely felt like the longest one. It felt really sloppy as well the last week I watched it. But before this video, of course, I rewatched the show to be as accurate as possible. And it didn't feel as sloppy to me. It was actually okay. But I thought overall it could have been paced better. And some moves didn't look the greatest. But overall, a good match again. We saw what the manager could do in the ring. Straps down, straps up. Great moment. There was another moment in the match where I definitely want to mention. So Josh Fuller is basically trying to get a whole hot tag for a while in the match. And he can't do it. He keeps getting interrupted. And at one point, the reality gets stuck in the corner. And Josh Fuller is completely free to make the tag. Now the crowd is sleeping. I honestly think they can be a little bit more lively here. I'm going to criticize the crowd here because if they were more lively, first of all, they would enjoy the show more. That's number one. The wrestlers would go even harder. The commentators would get even more hype. Crowd is literally everything, especially in an indie setting, I think. Especially in a promotion like DPW. Again, I'm speaking from self-experience. The way the crowd reacts can just take a 2 out of 10 match to 10 out of 10. And like I said, not just for the wrestlers, not just for the commentators, but for the crowd as well. Like the crowd is going to enjoy that too. The crowd that is attending, the crowd that is watching on YouTube as well. But of course, this is something a little selfish of me, right? Yeah, perhaps, but I definitely would love to see a more hyped up crowd. And not to say these guys were bad at all. Like they reacted where they were supposed to react. And back to the moment I was talking about, the crowd was sleeping. Like he's open for the hot tag that he's been waiting for a while. And what I loved, I don't know if they planned this or not, but like he waited for a second. Actually, not only he, but reality, they also like looked at each other, looked at Fuller, looked at each other. So like, oh, the crowd said, okay, I see what's going on. They gave them a chance, a cue to react. Again, if they didn't plan this and did this on the spot, wow, big kudos to these guys because that was cool. Little things like this really catch my eye and they make or break something for me. Anyways, the reality wins, of course. It would be weird if they lost. Even if even if they're heels, they needed to win here. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a great start for their careers and characters. The bald guy, I'm sorry for calling him the bald guy. I don't know their names yet. He might have hit the sweetest dive to the outside in the entire 2-week history of Deadlock, by the way. I wish at the end of the match they replayed that too, because it looks super, super good. Maybe there wasn't a good camera angle to replay it. Most likely the case. Oh, and of course they won because of a attempted overdrive by Josh Fuller. Once again, that seems to be his story. It reminds me a lot of Martin Kirby from DPW back in the day. I think Josh Fuller is going to try to hit this thing for a solid year, and it's never going to happen. But when it finally does, it's going to be an all-time moment. The pop it's going to get is going to be insane. And by mean pop, I mean the crowd sound. But I'm sure all of Johnny's veins in his head, they will pop as well. And Johnny might pass out on the spot. He can wear any amount of bandanas on his head to protect himself from that future, but it's not going to help. Oh yeah, I don't know the name of their finishers, but the future hits a really sweet assisted bulldog. Looked really, really brutal. Good finish. Can come out of anywhere. Not too complicated. Simple but effective, which is my philosophy for pro wrestling, honestly. Like if I were given the choice of doing like 750 frog splash or whatever, or just a simple clothesline as a finish, I'd take the clothesline in a heartbeat for many, many reasons, which I will not get into. Again, as I don't want this video to go over 30 minutes. Anyways, all I want to say at the end of this segment is, while I'm super excited to see what Chris Angel will do next, again, I liked what I saw from Josh Fuller and his manager, in this case, his tag team partner. And the reality seemed legit as well. So good vibes all around. After that, we see a chart for the DPW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Oh my goodness, so long. On the left, we have Bojack and Fuller. Obviously, Bojack won. We got Hill and Koo. I have no idea who those guys are either, so it's exciting to see what they're going to end up being. And who's going to face Bojack? Well, who's going to lose to Bojack? Honestly, if Bojack becomes the DPW champion, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think their first DPW champion will be someone like Andrew Everett. It has to be Everett because of the name value. That's what I'm thinking. But right after that, like if Bojack takes the title from Andrew Everett later on, I really wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, we had Tankman and Ray to determine who's going to face Andrew Everett in the semifinals. Andrew Everett obviously beat Rosemary the first week. If you didn't watch that match, go ahead and watch it. This match was alright. Tankman came out, gave me a lot of Bojack vibes, but like he was definitely more veteran. That's how I felt anyways. I felt that he knew his stuff more than Bojack. Bojack was super good, but he also felt new to me. New as in he was new to professional wrestling. Like the word I'm looking for is Tankman he seemed more seasoned. Then we had Donnie Ray, which we obviously needed to take less seriously for him to shock us when we got further into the match. But I gotta be honest, this match didn't have the effect it desired, like 100%. Okay, what they were going for here, and I enjoyed it, but like I said, it didn't immerse me into it. I guess that's the word. That's what I'm trying to say. Early on and throughout the match, we just see Tankman saying, show me what you got, bro. Okay, this is another thing you're gonna do. And then he demolished Donnie Ray just a bunch of times. I don't know how Donnie Ray is still alive and breathing today. But as the match went on, Donnie Ray got more serious and serious, got bigger and bigger offense. And this is just a personal opinion. It's just that because the way he presented himself, the way he looks, his gimmick, I really didn't. Like, I can see Tankman as a main eventer any day of the week. Donnie Ray, I couldn't say the same thing. And I think that's what kept me from fully enjoying this match. But still, I give them a lot of credit because they went hard in this match. They didn't pull any punches. Oh yeah, one thing also I can say is that I never really saw Donnie Ray winning. Like, I was 100% sure from the first moment I saw Tankman and Donnie Ray enter the ring, okay, I know who the winner is. So it never, at any point of the match, I wasn't convinced that Donnie Ray had an actual chance. So I think that's right there is the biggest problem and the reason why this match wasn't 100% enjoyable for me. But on the grand scheme of things, one move made me forget about everything. I'm sure it also made Donnie Ray forget about everything. And it's a fucking pop-up spinning back fist. Oh my goodness. Just wow. Into a power bomb, into a hidden blade. That's what Osprey calls it. I guess elbow to the back of the fucking dome. Is also another cool finisher name in my opinion. So I might have, said that a bunch of times in this video that I didn't enjoy this match as much as I could have, and that might have given you the impression that I kind of didn't like this match. Not really. I just didn't like one aspect of this match. Otherwise, it was definitely an enjoyable watch, a good main event. I really like Tank Man. Donny Ray, not as much as Tank Man, but I gotta say this, I would actually like to see him wrestle again. I'd be okay with seeing his other matches. And at the end of the day, like I said, even if I knew who was gonna win almost for sure, it was still enjoyable to watch. Which is honestly what I can say for the entirety of DPW. It's just enjoyable to watch. It's just fun every single week. And I said I wasn't gonna go over 30 minutes, but it seems impossible because there's always so much to talk about, even when I limit myself. Let's see how many minutes will it take to talk about the third episode, shall we? Okay, I'm back right after watching the third episode. A lot of interesting things to say. Right now I'm with a huge smile on my face because the ending of this show is so good. But we'll get to that. Let's start from the beginning. Before we actually say anything, I want to make a general criticism once more. This time about the commentary. Now, the way Johnny Pulse and Tony Pizza Guy, Anthony Douglas in this case, commentates is pretty good. I like Johnny. I think as weeks goes on, they're all going to get better, but Johnny is definitely the best one out of all of them right now. His voice is really fitting to the entire program. It's just my opinion that he is the voice that is carrying the commentary table right now. I know for a fact that Pulse can, step his game up as well. I just think it's, they're getting their feet wet right now. They're just doing that. And I'm sure as we go on, they're going to get better and better and better. And honestly, we talked about a little while ago Chris Danger wrestling, but we got Pulse as well. He's been training for a while. Maybe not anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him wrestle as well. And actually, one cool match would be if we were able to see Pulse and Danker in the same ring, in the same match. Doesn't have to be a one-on-one, could be a tag team, could be in a battle royal or something. I think it might happen, and again, it's gonna happen maybe if DPW continues for a couple of years, then a couple of years later, not now. It's too early for that, I think. Especially, hearing James talk about it, James being Pulse. I don't like to call him James because he's not my friend. We're not buddies with that guy. I don't go drinking with him, to the bars at night. So when I say James, I feel like I'm, being a little rude, that's all. But doesn't matter. The point is the commentary is going to get better and better over time. Now let me know what you think about this one. I personally think that the commentary voice is too high. But not extremely, but I think the show audio could be a little bit higher. And honestly, in some cases where the crowd goes wild, it's okay if it's a little hard for us to hear what the commentary is saying, not completely ununderstandable. We should be able to hear and understand it still, but it's okay if the crowd noise gets in the way a little bit, or the sound of the ring. I think it just adds more impact to it. It's not a big problem, especially because when somebody talks, when somebody's saying something, when there's something we need to hear, the commentary is quiet. But it's just something little that's been bothering me ever since the first episode. Again, though, if you're watching this video, I would like to know what you think about this. All right, with that out of the way, we can talk about the show. We have another DPW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Extravaganza. Oh my god. Okay, so we have Tank Man and Andrew Everett. Interesting matchup. And now with this match, we're going to see who's going to be against Bojack. Or like I said in the second episode, who's going to lose to Bojack. First, we have Diego Hill wrestling against Kevin Koo. And I didn't know what to think about any of these guys, but Jesus Christ, Diego, he was so good. Very good. Put him in any major company and he'll survive. His in-ring work was that good. And I thought Kevin Koo was an amateur, as in he was a newcomer to the wrestling business. Especially in the beginning of the match, where in one spot, he messes up a little bit. Maybe he does, or maybe it was the other wrestler's fault. Diego's fault, who knows? He cannot get the bow and arrow in properly. I thought, oh, okay, I guess this guy is going to lose because he's not that good. But as the match went on, again, I realized that no, this guy is actually pretty good because he was able to keep up with everything that Diogo was doing, and he was selling good. He was also hitting everything he's supposed to hit properly. So I think especially after that bow and arrow moment, he had a fire lit up under his ass. Like, I messed that up. I'm never going to mess anything up again. I kind of sensed that energy from him. And yeah, that was like the only thing in the beginning. Other than that, this match just flowed. It was just very enjoyable to watch. Every second of it, honestly. And I was shocked too, because this time I was sure that Diego was going to win. But Kevin won with a submission. I think it was a knee bar. And he kicked the shit out of Diego, so Diego got to tap out. I was surprised because Diego was so good. Very good showing. I thought he was going to win for that reason. But as soon as Kevin Ko won, I actually thought, yeah, actually, this makes sense because he is a heel here and he's going to go up against Bojack. As you know, babyface versus babyface is always something difficult. Less appealing. So it makes sense that a heel like Kevin Ko would win this match. So yeah, a surprising match. I really like Diego. We're definitely going to see more of him. I mean, I hope we do. Kevin Ko managed to win me over as the match went on. I'm going to be interested to see what Bojack is going to do now that he has a more serious opponent like Kevin Ko. You know, no disrespect to Josh Fuller, but he was obviously not positioned and represented the same way Kevin Ko was in this episode. After this great match, we got another announcement for DPW you already know. It was the announcement of the match, Kid Bandit versus Ho Ho Lun. Very interesting. I mean, you might have picked up that I'm not that into goofy stuff. I'm into it when it's done right. And I think it's just one of those cases where I think it's done right here because like it's not a main event match. It's not for your world title. It's, I guess we could call this a special attraction match. So there's a lot more freedom for Kid Bandit and Ho Ho Lun to do anything they want here. So I'm interested in this match because it's been a hot minute since I've last seen Ho Ho Lun wrestle. And of course, he's also a legend, right? So anytime I get to see him wrestle, of course I'm going to be interested. Right after this, we had our second match of the night or the show. Rachel Rose, which really impressed me, which also happened to be the heel. Just like in the first women's match, the heel was the more experienced one. And in this match, the heel was also way better. Way, leaps and bounds better than the babyface. So I was like, oh, okay. Because at one point, one person in the commentary said, you know, she had experience in her territory, won a championship or something like that. And it shows. It really shows. Rachel Rose has, has like a good presence in the ring. And then we have Kat Spencer. And she might be the greenest. I don't mean this is an insult. It's just the only way I can describe her. Is the greenest wrestler I've ever seen in DPW Fire. If I had to be 100% honest, she didn't impress me that much. But her face, her build that's impressive. That definitely gives her this badass, dangerous chick vibe. I also liked what she wore on her top. It says Savage 1993. It placed her character in a small way. She obviously cared enough to find something that had Savage written on it. Just a small thing. Maybe if she can change her bottom into something more unique, into something when you look at, oh, okay, that's a wrestler. Because if I remember correctly, it was just black pants and white shoes. So like I said, if he changed into something more unique, her boots or bottom in general. Again, she was new, I guess. Maybe she might not even have like proper gear made. And it showed, by the way. The experience gap showed. But I don't have any qualms with this much other than that because it was really short. I like that fact. It did what it needed to do. And then, it got out of the way. Really cool. Didn't overstay its welcome. And for me, I guess what it was supposed to do was mostly show how good Rachel Rose was. And I hate doing this because I'm going to nitpick again and it makes me seem like I hate the show. At least that's how I feel. Every time I nitpick, it feels like I'm, throwing a bomb into the show and saying it's horrible. So I'd like to clarify again, that's not my intention. I very much enjoyed the show, especially what happened at the end. And I enjoyed this match as well. But one nitpick I have to make is, at one point in the match, Rachel Rose pushes her opponent to the corner, just pushes her, not even like hits her with her shoulder. Then she gets her opponent's leg on the second rope to hit a drop kick. Now, to do that, she does a roll to the other side of the ring, other corner, and then she runs and does the drop kick. Now at that point, her opponent has about like a good 3 seconds to, well, do anything, which she doesn't, which I didn't get. Like Rachel Rose looks very, very seasoned, very good in the ring, but for some reason, I don't know why she didn't do this, but she could have, once she got her in the corner, threw in a couple of punches, got her leg up, threw in a couple more punches, give her, you know, opponent a reason to stay there, give her time to sell something, so she doesn't look like a, well, so she doesn't look foolish, just waiting for the dropkick. Other than that, though, again, that was my nitpick. The match was good. It introduced me to 2 new wrestlers, one of which that being Rachel Rose, I really liked. So I got nitpicks to pick, but overall, again, I liked it. And this is going to be a shocker, but I think for the final match, I don't have any nitpicks. Overall, I just really liked it. It was a tag team match between the reality of the NDA, Chris Danger's faction, and 2 guys from the Nightmare Factory, TSF. I mean, I thought the reality looked legit. It turns out they were definitely legit, because with this match, like, they showed how good they were, how professional they were, how experienced they were. At least that's how they came across as. TSF, I mean, they were great opponents. Really liked this match. The in-ring action was really impeccable. Also, one thing I want to note, the reality, I think they, in the last episode, wore a different attire. In this one, they wore another, and I really like the way this attire looks on them. The golden and black attire. Because I don't know his name, I'm just going to say the guy with the orange hair. In the following weeks, I hope I can learn their names. But he had a singlet, which I liked as well. Because it's something different, you know. They looked good, both teams wrestled good, put on a good show. I thought there was going to be 4 matches this time, which weirded me out, like, what? But no, it turns out that this match ended quickly. There was still some time to go. By the way, I watched this match, or this show, a little bit after the premiere ended, so I could see that there was more time left. So like, oh, this is a bunch of time left. What are they going to do? I guess there's another match. But no. Besides, instead of a match, when the reality beat TSF by a cheap shot, thanks to Chris Danger, a low blow, they didn't stop there. They ended up attacking their opponents after the match, like the scumbags they are. And the man, the myth, the legend, the hog dipper of all hog dippers, Luther came out to save the Nightmare Factory team. Well, and then, a little bit later then, greatness ensued. So, like I said in Chris Danger's first promo when he made his debut, I didn't like it because not that I hated it, I just didn't like that it went a bit longer than it should have. This right here, again, I have no qualms with it. I loved every second of this. First of all, Luther was super good. Like, what? I wasn't expecting that at all. Like, I've never seen Luther cut a promo before. And holy shit, I think they should let him cut a promo in AEW as well. Because Chris was good on the microphone, but Luther was really, really good. He hyped the crowd up so well. He even hyped me up, you know, I was just sitting here watching on my PC. I wanted to scream DPW as well. I also love this little detail. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but he fell while he was getting into the ring, if you were to go back a little bit. Just, you know, just would like to remind you of that. But yeah, Luther comes in for the save, tells the crowd to surround the ring, traps Chris Danger and the reality inside. After riling up the crowd, says if they try to leave, you know, beat the shit out of them or something like that. I can't remember quite exactly what he said. I loved every minute of it. While that insanity was ensuing, one little kid told Chris how much he sucked.
He sucks! What did you say?
Let me tell you right now, that kid is one day going to be the greatest DPW champion of all time. I love how everybody, the crowd, the wrestlers, Chris Danger, I loved how they handle it. It was so good. Again, such a special moment. And it makes me excited for the next Chris Danger segment as well. And they're most likely going to be involved with Luther again. And in DPW, Luther doesn't have to put on a 5-star match. He just has to be himself. People already love him. And you know what? Like I said, as far as promos go, Luther was fucking great. So I'm super, super hyped for whatever this is going to continue, whatever this is going to end up becoming. Out of these 3 episodes, the best match was, I'd say, Andrew versus Rosemary. The best segment, bar none, was this. And I'd be really surprised if they were able to top this one anytime soon. But you never know. Or perhaps you already know. By the way, I have no idea how I'm going to watch You Already Know. Or even if, can I watch it? I don't know. I should go see about that, get some more information about that, honestly. But yeah, anyways, reality, Chris trapped inside the ring, they call security. They wait for a while, security comes in, Chris gets out of the ring, jumps on the security like his bride or something, runs away, gets out of the ring, you know, and security goes out, reality goes out of the arena or the venue as well. And what I love is this final shot. They willingly, like intentionally left that shit in too. I love that. Of the little kid that screamed, "Chris, you suck" earlier. He almost had like a Luke Harper or what is he? What was he called? Brody Lee vibe. Like the way he tilts his head a little bit. Bro, all I'm saying is watch out for that kid. Like if 10 years later DPW is still a thing, that kid is your world champion. He is already living rent-free in Chris Danger's head. And I think they taped this 4 shows, right? With the same crowd. So I'm really interested in what the kid is going to do or what Chris Danger is going to do, you know, interact. How is he going to interact with the kid in the 4th episode? Because he's definitely going to be there. They might even they might have planned something for the first episode, but they might make a new plan involving the kid as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. So overall, first match, tiny bit of a rocky start. After that, amazing. The second match really showcased how good Rachel Rose is. Kat Spencer definitely has a good look, but also needs to get more reps in. That's obvious. Third match, really solid. Everybody involved looked really good. The Afterbirth segment, where Luther came in, just amazing. Currently the greatest moment of DPW. And all of this happened in what? Less than 40 minutes? And what? This is their 3rd show? Their first ever taping? I think the sky is the limit for DPW Fire. I think we're gonna see a lot more fun stuff than this. And that makes me very happy and very excited. And honestly, that's all I got to say today. So thank you so much for listening to me talk about DPW for 30 minutes? Over 30 minutes now. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about DPW Fire. Or if you have anything you agree or disagree with what I said, go ahead and leave that down in the comments below as well. You can give me a like too if you want my video to be a little bit more visible, if you want to help me out in that way. Yeah, so that was it. If I can get my channel back, I'll catch you on the next one in Wings of Libertas. So like I said, go ahead and subscribe there if you want to see more of this content. That's all I'm going to say. All right, goodbye and take care of yourself.